Good evening and welcome to tonight's Parent University, Becoming Kindergarten Ready. I'm Courtney Adams, the district's Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. Before we get started, I want to make sure that for our families who want to hear this presentation in Spanish, they are able to do so. So we're going to pull up some instructions to show you how to listen to this presentation in Spanish. Okay. And now I will introduce our awesome Office of Early Learning team, or part of the team, Ms. Julia Wentz, the Officer of Early Learning, and Dr. Charnette Dennis, the Early Learning Program Manager. You can take it away, ladies.
Hi, I'm Julia Wentz, the Officer of Early Learning. I oversee pre-K in Kansas City Public Schools, and we have Head Start, parents as teachers, pre-K, and I work with Dr. Dennis, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us this afternoon. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
On our agenda today, we're going to go through enrollment information, what we do in pre-K, how pre-K connects to kindergarten goals, ideas for home to continue child development, and what you're going to do with your summer learning pack. And we'll have plenty of time for questions and next steps. So also, your child, if they're going to kindergarten this fall, you are going to watch them graduate in 20, take home this class of 2035 t-shirt and a lot of activity materials in your pack. We have 24 elementary schools, and so we encourage you, if you haven't already, to enroll at enrollkc.org. If you're curious about the boundaries and which school your child would go to next year, there's several ways to see our kindergarten options. We have the Google map right here. We can put that in the chat. This is where all the neighborhood pre-K neighborhood kindergarten options are. We also have signature schools. If you're already enrolled in our pre-K, you will automatically roll up to kindergarten. If you need any help with that, just let us know. We have 15 pre-K locations. So if you are new to the district, we have all of these locations in our system, all free, in Kansas City Public Schools. So all across the district, we have 15 different pre-K locations, and you can enroll at enrollkc.org. Our birth date is July 31st, cutoff. And here are all of the options for you, and you can choose what works for you. In our system, we also have, this is enrollkc.org, as you can see, enrollkc.org, if you want to put that in the chat, Dr. Dennis. This is where you apply for KCPS kindergarten. These are all of the signature schools and our elementary neighborhood schools. If you want to know which one you are in their boundary zone, you click School Finder, and you can enter your address. Okay, so here is the Board of Education, and we are in kindergarten, and we are in the Longfellow Elementary School boundary. So there's a lot of other options for signature, but if I were going to my neighborhood school, that would be my neighborhood boundary. Okay, back to the presentation. I'm going to open it back up if I can. All right. Thanks for your patience. Any questions about neighborhood or signature kindergarten enrollment? Let me know. Okay, great. If you are a parent and you are coming back to us next year, be sure to activate your parent portal so you can get transportation set up. And that is at our Infinite Campus on our website. So if someone could put that in the chat, that would be great. KC Public Schools / Infinite Campus. And you can have everything set up for next year. So again, we have 15 pre-K locations, and we have lots of options for pre-K enrollment. If you know anyone or you have a younger child, you can see all of our options on our early learning website, as well as come on down to our Head Start and you can apply for Head Start on these dates. And you can call for a tour as well. I will email you all the tour contacts too. So now we're going to begin our section about what we do in pre-K at Kansas City Public Schools. We have Montessori pre-K, about 250 Montessori openings for pre-K. We have about nearly 500 Head Start seats for pre-K. And we have 400 seats for traditional pre-K, maybe 400 to 500. And our traditional pre-K is what we're going to focus on today. Dr. Dennis is the manager over the traditional pre-K. We use a curriculum called Creative Curriculum, and it is project-based learning. So we integrate all the standards in pre-K. What are the pre-K standards? They are in a series of domains. So we have 52 different domains where we measure developmental readiness for kindergarten entry, as you can see. This is called the DRDP, the Desired Results Developmental Profile. We measure all of the students along these continuums. We have self-regulation and social emotional, language and literacy, math and science, physical development, history and social science, and visual and performing arts. So we'll give you a little taste of what all of those look like in our classrooms today. So my favorite is our self-regulation curriculum. It is the cornerstone skill for all development. We all need self-regulation. It refers to the conscious and unconscious processes that allow us to regulate our thoughts, feelings, actions in service of a goal. We use conscious discipline, and we will be having conscious discipline parenting classes next year for kindergarten and pre-K. And with conscious discipline, there's a lot of strategies that your child will learn to self-regulate and co-regulate with the adults. They learn how to identify how they feel and to be safe and comfortable in their classroom and help others feel safe and comfortable in the classroom. This is the calm down corner if children need to have some time to themselves and to talk about their feelings. With self-regulation, children learn how to listen to others in group settings. They raise their hand, wait their turn. They develop self-control, patience, and cooperation skills. Students also develop their self-regulation using brain-body connections. So we use practical skills to manage thoughts, feelings, and actions, and connection wires the brain for impulse control. So with conscious discipline, we believe that there is the 3 brain parts. So there's the emotional state, the executive state, and the primitive state of the brain. Dr. Dennis, do you want to talk about that?
So with regards to our young scholars, we cannot teach them unless they are in the executive state. And so oftentimes when they are extremely upset The goal is first to get them to calm down. And if you look at some of the images at the bottom of the slide, these are some breathing techniques. First and foremost, when our scholars are having those big feelings, we teach them how to take a moment and calm down. You have the star, the drain, the balloon, and the pretzel. And each day, our teachers start off the day with a morning meeting session where they go through these different breathing techniques so that when our scholars are having those feelings and they need that extra support, that they can start implementing these strategies for themselves. And then they're able to move throughout the different stages that Ms. Went just previously spoke about. And then once they're at that executive stage, the learning can begin. And our scholars are feeling as if they are in a safe, nurturing environment. And so they don't have to worry about anything else but learning and exploring the world around them.
And just a little bit more about this, our students, so when they come to school, they might be in a survival state and they're saying, am I safe? If the answer is yes, then they move up to the emotional state and they say, am I loved? Do I belong? And then when we have all the oxygen to our executive functioning, then we say, what can I learn today? So we want to get all of the oxygen flowing in our brains and move from the survival to the emotional to the executive state and be functioning at our highest capacity. So together, let's all do one of these together. My favorite is balloon. So if you can all help do some deep breathing with me, you'll get this in your activity pack. So let's all try the balloon together. So you can do 3 with me. Ready? You can go. So the children will do that together. Maybe we'll do one more. Or they can do the pretzel and they breathe. So these are some of the ways that we teach them to calm their body and self-regulate. All right, so in addition to that, we have a classroom community where we really focus on the community of belonging. So our children learn to wish those well that are not present. So the students that are not present for the day are in the heart and we wish them well. We have, as you can see below, we have a visual schedule below. So students know everything that's happening during the school day. They learn skills for apologizing on the time machine where they become willing and come closer together to mediate. And they learn to play in groups and explore together. In addition, we have jobs, classroom jobs, and I suggest you have this at your house too. Students contribute to weekly jobs. They gain purpose and community, or contribute to the school family through meaningful, purposeful work. Line leader, door handle. Some of them are calm down helpers. All these options for cleanup and job charts. So there's very much predictability and consistency in our classrooms for classroom community. When we talk about literacy, I want to show you that we do a lot of play with sounds, syllables, words, and we put together words and take them apart. And there's a variety of print-rich materials. We have writing centers, we have reading corners. Everything has literacy embedded. And our curriculum has studies and themes. So literacy is woven throughout all the themes. Every pre-K and kindergarten student gets an iPad and we use Seesaw. So there's homework if you want, or school day activities with Seesaw and assignments for these. This, for example, is a letter L hunt for things that begin with this letter L, the sound L. When we talk about writing, we have writing embedded in the curriculum. Students practice writing symbols, their name, new vocabulary words, lists, invitations, thank you notes, classroom rules and instructions. Anything else about that, Dr. Dennis, with writing?
Yes, so our scholars also use such tools as a tweezer. They also use the best way to develop the correct way to hold a pen, pencil, or whatever your scholar is using to communicate is as simple as a broken crayon. You can actually, take one of their crayons, break the crayon so that it's smaller, so that the scholar is using that tripod posture or grip. And so that's going to also improve their strength in those fine motor skills. And it's so important, parents, to start working on those fine motor skills so that when they get to third grade and they're having to take an hour essay writing test, that they have the stamina to endure that long process of writing. And so making sure that you just take a simple broken crayon, or you can always, for those golfers out there, you can get those little pencils that you get when you are keeping score at the golf course, or when you go to, do your lottery, they have those little pencils, you can get one of those and also use those for your scholars to strengthen those fine motor skills. You can do hand exercises. A lot of those old finger play games like the Itsy Bitsy Spider helps you to improve your scholars' fine motor skills. As you see, Ms. Wint is holding a hole puncher. That helps with our scholars' fine motor skills. Your tongues that you already have in the kitchen, having your scholars open and close or pick up things with those tongues will also help. As well as, we don't think about it oftentimes, but the monkey bars, which as a child, I could never master. But writing is more than just our hands. It's the muscles, those large muscles in our arms. We need to strengthen those. We also need to strengthen our core, because when I'm sitting, I'm writing. If my core is not strong enough, then that's when you have students who are slumping over. And so doing all of those activities, starting your scholars now, will help them in the long run.
Thank you. And this is an example of tongs where students are sorting, but also developing pincer grasp in their muscle strength in their hands. So sometimes the tying issue and things of that nature have to do with muscle strength in their hands. In developing math and science, we have a lot of activities with shapes, counting. Our curriculum is STEAM and STEM, so they will be doing science, technology, engineering, art, math within the curriculum. So we use a lot of sorting and measuring and creating patterns. And as you can see, the sensory table, we have teachers bringing in materials at during every different study or project, such as snow or cornmeal, things of that nature. We also use math embedded into our curriculum. So we use number sense, numeral, quantity, and as you can see, this teacher is using a game to help the students develop number sense in terms of immediate recognition of numeral and quantity with playing cards. So we make things into games and we have collaboration. Let's talk a little bit about our project work. So project work allows children to investigate and dive deep into an area that interests them. Project work covers all areas of the curriculum. So this classroom was studying the tomato plants, and they grew tomatoes and they learned how to compost and learned all the vocabulary about planting and tomatoes. You can see that they learned predictions. We have phases to our studies. So this group of students wanted to learn about fish. So the phase one was they approached the investigation with what they want to learn about fish. We bring fish into the classroom. They're scaling fish. They are exploring cooking fish, tying their learning into real world opportunities in a project-based learning. So then some of the events had to do with fishing and counting, and pincer grasp embedded with the study of fish. Same thing for pumpkin around October, pumpkin patch, learning pumpkin words, measuring, the sensorial, learning to scoop, all of those things. So we have a lot of fun in pre-K. In addition, we have an art center in every classroom, and children do free play, art, painting, and work with a variety of materials for self-expression and learning the process of art. And finally, we have gross motor, we have playgrounds, trikes for every classroom, and children learn to develop balance, coordination, and of course, pencil grasp. So do we have any questions about pre-K before we go on to talk about kindergarten? And you are free to unmute yourself if you have any questions about KCPS pre-K. Okay, how pre-K connects to kindergarten. So in Kansas City Public Schools, we want to make sure that students come with social development and independent skills. So let's think through what your students will need when they start kindergarten so we can become ready. They're going to need to be able to share, such as, may I have it after you, taking turns, waiting patiently, pronouncing their first and last name, buttoning and unbuttoning, tying shoes. And I will say, please help them know their phone number and their address if possible. So parents, you have a long list of about 8 things: sharing, taking turns, waiting patiently, pronouncing first and last name, address, phone number, and tying shoes. And you can have students, you can have your students learn to tie their shoes while it's not a stressful time when they're leaving. You can just have the shoes out and practice tying them when they're sitting on the couch and it's not time to go anywhere. Buttoning and unbuttoning is all hand strength, muscle strength in their hands. In pre-K, we are a 1-to-10 ratio. There's 2 teachers for every 20 students. In kindergarten, we have as many as 25 students to 1 teacher. So they will need to be more independent in kindergarten. All right, in kindergarten, our curriculum, we have an iPad for every. Sorry about that. Did I mute myself?
Yeah, that was me. I'm sorry.
Okay. We have an iPad for every student to enrich and extend their learning. We use Seesaw as our online learning management system. So you get to see all of the work that they complete during centers or stations and at home. They have Discovery Ed for science. They have Learning A to Z for reading. They have Envision for math. And it's daily work on identifying, writing letters. They have handwriting. In addition, I just really love Raz Kids, because with Raz Kids, you have thousands of books that are at their reading level. And we have them in Spanish and French and Vietnamese with Raz Kids. So next, any questions about the curriculum in kindergarten? Feel free to unmute. Again, we want you to be able to get your children ready for school in August. So again, your list, parents, is being able to read and write their first name, last name, knowing how old they are. And let's think through setting an evening routine like homework, bath, bedtime story, and really trying to go to bed early during the week. There's a book called 7 o'clock bedtime. Some families choose to make sure their children get between 10 and 12 hours of sleep. It's hard in the summer when it's light out till 9 o'clock, but really to get ready to be on time to school, we require attendance percentage. Some things you can do, I'll show you this. I made this, so we're gonna talk about some of the activities you can make. I took a cereal box and I cut out the back of it and I created a evening or morning routine for students so they can become self-sufficient and use a shoelace. So this is one way you could just take something around the house and make a activity for getting ready for school in the morning. So your student can just hang this on their door and they can wake up, eat, brush teeth, get dressed, put on their shoes, walk the dog or whatnot, and drive to school, so that you can say, do your list, and they can get ready for the morning and feel independent. Those are some things you could possibly do just to help your child develop that independence and have that visual routine. And finally, I think we're ready for this. Finally, here are the things that are coming home in your activity pack. So along with your Class of 2035 t-shirt, we are sending home, I know we've talked about this a lot, we're sending home pencil grips for you, pencils. And you can see that the developmentally appropriate pencil grip really by about 3 to 4 years needs to be that tripod grip. By 5 years old, it needs to be that tripod grasp. So we will help you get ready for that. And what's also coming home is a paintbrush. We suggest sidewalk painting with water. It's a very fun little activity. They can develop that fine motor. You can add sidewalk, we'll send home sidewalk chalk too. You can add sidewalk chalk and then you have paint on the sidewalk on these hot days. And that's a great way to spend your day outside. We're sending home with you also activity cards. So you have a fun activity every day. There'll be 2 of these. So you have a lot of activities. We've suggested some of these breathing exercises for you. We have other ways that you can play with your student with the activities. You will have colored pencils, chalk. In addition, we're sending home a book that we think is great for social emotional learning and being confident and self-regulated. And you're also getting some Elephant Piggy books that we suggest are great partner reading. And I will say, when you read Elephant Piggy, you could play, like, dad reads this side, dad reads the elephant and the child reads the pig, right? So you can do, I'll be the elephant, you be the pig, and you can read over the whole summer, just the same book. So this would be the child's turn. And then this is the adult. So you can, it's always a dialogue in Elephant Piggy. So you're getting lots of books, lots of activities, and I will show you, you're going to get scissors as well. And I want to show you one more activity that you can do with scissors. So I took this box, I cut up some strips, and these are very good cutting skills activities. I just kind of used a marker to make suggestions so children can learn to cut on a line, and your kindergarten teacher will thank you if your student can cut independently with the thumb in the thumb hole and the finger in the finger hole. And you can talk about shapes once they do the cutting. You can glue what they cut out like a mosaic. And so here they can learn to cut triangles like this. This is kind of silly. And then here's one where they have to cut the whole way down, all the way. And the final idea, just some fun things around the house that you can do with old boxes. They can learn to do a squiggle. So those are some activities that we suggest to develop stamina for those long kindergarten days. And we really appreciate you coming tonight to learn more and be available for getting your child to be kindergarten ready. I will email you the tour calendar so you can visit your Rising Kindergarten School whenever you want over the summer, meet the teacher, meet your principal, and be prepared to visit so you feel like your students have been able to meet everybody and be comfortable on that first day of school. All right, do we have any questions from our parents? Did I go too quickly for you, Natalie? No, okay. Do we have any questions from our parents? We'll open it up to questions and answers right now. Do you have any trouble with, oh, go ahead, Elisa.
Hi, I'm Miss Hansen. Hi, how are you?
Great, welcome.
Thank you. The question I actually had was from prior when you mentioned about the socio-emotional part of the transition, especially in pre-K. I know firsthand that at least I know one of the signature schools do have like what they call trauma-sensitive clinicians or socio-emotional coordinators that are dedicated to certain schools. But I don't know if that's really a requirement for all pre-K.
Yes, every school has, all of our pre-K has a trauma clinician for all of pre-K, and every kindergarten through 6th grade, every kindergarten through 12th grade has trauma clinicians and school counselors. And they're being trained in conscious discipline in June, all of them. Great point, Ms. Hansen. Is your child at one of our signature schools?
Yes, he is at ACE.
Wonderful.
And he was previously at Holiday before, like the last school year. And I know they actually had that sourced out at Holiday, but I really wasn't sure if it was at ACE because I know he had started in October, so it was very early in the school year. But who do I go to in case, you know, because I do have a little one, a little girl that's going in the fall for pre-K, and I just want to make sure I know who to go to for that in case they're in need of any.
Yeah, absolutely. We will make sure that the trauma clinician introduces herself to all of the pre-K families, and you can always call me at 418-PRE-K or 418-7443. You can put that in the chat, Dr. Dennis, if you want. And Ms. Hansen, Dr. Dennis oversees the AC Prep pre-K, so she can connect you to any of those supports now too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. And I'll put my information in the chat for you as well, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dennis.
So all of our schools have trauma clinicians who are helpful with children in the moment learning to self-regulate, and school counselors. So even up into middle and high school, we have restorative justice coordinators, and restorative practices, restorative circles are amazing. They do green circles, yellow circles, and red circles are for problem solving and mediation. And we just have a phenomenal student service program for students that need social emotional supports. So and if parents, if you're really interested in the conscious discipline parenting curriculum, we will be starting that in August. So you will go through the whole curriculum for kindergarten and pre-K. Any other questions that you might have?
There was a question in the chat, and I want to just read it just in case anyone didn't see. There were two questions in the chat. One of them was asking if this presentation would be available somewhere. And the answer to that is yes. We will post the slides as well as the recording on our website tomorrow, kcpublicsschools.org/ParentU. It's not there yet, but that's where we keep all of our Parent University materials and recordings. So I think the presentation from last year is still there. Let's see.
There we are.
So that is here. Scroll. Okay, workshop. You'll go under workshop archive, and you'll be able to see some of the other sessions. So you will see right there that we have the May 4th Becoming Kindergarten Ready presentation there. So we will update it.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Wow. There's the one from last year.
Yeah. And then you had another question about 30 minutes of reading time. Let me just scroll up. I received a letter today stating that my son would need an extra 30 minutes a week to get ready for kindergarten. Oh goodness. I'm sorry, I lost the chat. Okay. How can I pick him up or drop him off? Is it going to be on a specific day or will it be spread out during the week? And that is from...
Is that for a kindergarten student or a fourth grader? What grade is that?
To a pre-K student. It says to get ready for kindergarten. So if the person who asked that question on the Moto G phone could take themselves off mute and provide a little more information. If not, just stick it in the chat and we'll read it too.
And they can give their number if they want me to call them and help them navigate that too.
Oh, pre-K.
Yeah, so they want 30 extra minutes of preparedness.
Yes, so they had a letter saying that they need 30 extra minutes of preparedness. And how would transportation and what does picking them up and dropping them off look like with that 30 minutes? Is it 30 minutes a day? Is it 5 more minutes a day throughout the week or 7 more minutes?
Does that parent want to take themselves off mute?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was asking. I don't know how that would work.
Welcome. Yeah. What classroom does your child go to right now?
I mean, like what school?
Yes. Which school does your child go to?
I forgot the name.
It might be a service through the district where I can speak with you personally about that. And so we can help you make a plan if that's going to be embedded in your school day or after school through we have reading interventionists. That's the amazing thing. We have reading interventionists at almost every school. So it might be that your child is going to get reading intervention through those extra layers of support after. So you can private chat me your email address or your number and we'll call you if you want.
Also Richardson Early Learning Center.
At Richardson, okay. Lovely, yes. Your child might be getting some exceptional services, so that's great. And I can stay on and talk with you about that after.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, so there are 2 other questions. How do we sign up for Link for summer school and also the regular school year? And another question, so I don't forget, for pre-K students that can read, what type of academic support resources are available?
Wonderful, yes. So Link, we suggest that you sign up for Link at your summer school site. So if your child is going to Garcia, contact Garcia and sign them up for Link. Call the Garcia phone number and sign them up for Link. As far as next fall, be sure to go to right here. You can Google Link and you can apply for Link. So I'm going to write Link apply. I think it says pre-apply for Link. So if Dr. Dennis, if you want to put that in the chat, I believe it's right here, Kansas City Public Schools. And one of the drop downs says how to apply, but there's also this list of all of the coordinators, so you can call them individually, see? So maybe I'll put that in the chat too. Link is wonderful and it does fill up, so I recommend that you get signed up very soon. Link, apply, KCPS. We can email everybody the link to apply for Link with after the meeting, just so that you have all of that. There's definitely a link to apply for Link. I'm just not looking, I'm not seeing where it is currently. I think it might be right here. Questions or comments about our program. So that's before and after care for kindergarten, and it's free. If you can get signed up, if you can get enrolled. Additionally, what resources are available for students who can read? That's what I really love about our district is we differentiate learning. So the curriculum is very rigorous. So students will be exposed to a rigorous text. They take the text into writing, small group, and the teacher meets with every student in small group reading. And so your child will be working with children that are at their level in a small group reading. And in addition to that, they will also be able to use reading A to Z to go up in their reading level and have books at their developmental complexity, at their developmental level. And there are books in the classroom that they can, that are developmentally appropriate for them to continue reading as well. And so it's nice that all of those resources are available to our teachers. We're also making sure that every classroom and school has a culturally responsive text set. So all of the buildings have huge libraries of culturally responsive texts at various levels for each lexile. So that's what the librarians call a reading level, like kindergarten level, first grade level, second grade level. It's really just your lexile, your text complexity. And so you will be given your child's reading level when you get from your kindergarten teacher. You'll be getting their developmental reading level. You'll also be getting a kindergarten readiness assessment, and they'll screen and tell you if they're ready or not, and what we could do to boost their readiness. So does that answer someone's question about the reading?
Are you saying that so the readiness test for reading is only for kindergartners, but it's not for pre-K?
No, there's a kindergarten entry assessment that the state requires starting this fall. So every kindergartner will get a KEA, a kindergarten entry assessment test, that tells you, the teacher, a quick check of what they, so that's a separate test. It's going to be kindergarten entry. However, the reading test is a minimum of 3 times per school year, right? Beginning, middle, and end of year. And then they do incremental assessments every 6 to 8 weeks. So your child might, if they're already reading, the teacher will be customizing their learning based on their reading level and their lexile range. And you will get access to all of these books on your iPad, and not just these books, other developmentally appropriate books, and they will be on the theme of the instruction. So if the instruction is about water, you'll be getting books about water, and the child can really deepen their understanding while reading at their developmental level and being exposed to rich, rigorous text and vocabulary in the classroom.
Okay, I think you answered it. Let me just make sure I'm saying it right. You said that the pre-K and the kindergartners will take a test in the fall, correct, to assess their reading level?
Oh, kindergarten through 8th grade does the reading test to check their reading level. Pre-K has a screening test, but not a reading test. So pre-K reading level will be somewhere around here. So it's more of concepts of print, turning the page, and being able to predict, but the reading test is not required for pre-K. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So they can't take it because they're in pre-K.
They can take it, but it's not required, and you're not going to be given a kindergarten, you're not going to be given reading A to Z scores when you are in pre-K, because it starts in kindergarten. This resource starts, but you will have access to this resource in pre-K as well. So really it's up to the teacher. If a child is reading, then the teacher can, maybe you can talk about that, Dr. Dennis. If you have a student that's reading, the teacher would pull them aside and give them a text complexity test, but that's not something that they would mandate across the board.
So just as Ms. Wentz stated, depending on where your scholar is, when all pre-K scholars come to pre-K, our teachers will assess our students to see where they are with regards to their reading and math skills and all of those domains. And our teachers plan in what we call intentional planning. And so what your scholar may need as a scholar who is able to read, then that teacher may go ahead and maybe assess your scholar and see where he or she is with regards to reading. And then based on that, they will plan for your scholar's academic performance moving forward to make sure that they're providing quality instruction that's developmentally appropriate. If that assessment is warranted, we try to ask our teachers to refrain from that. We use what Ms. Wentz spoke to you about earlier, which is the DRDP, which is the Desired Results Developmental Program or Profile, where we're looking at where your scholar is and we're moving he or she in accordance to their interests, their readiness, and so as well as their learning style. So in short, to answer your question, would they receive that reading assessment? Probably not, but what the teachers will do is observe your scholar, see where your scholar is, and develop lessons and activities that engage your scholars that are developmentally appropriate, because that kindergarten reading assessment is developmentally appropriate for a kindergarten scholar. And I hope that added some insight to that question.
I think what I also want to add is the screener. It's a beginning of the year screener for pre-K and kindergarten. They're the same one. It's called Brigance. There's a Brigance 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and 5-year-old. So that's the kindergarten entry assessment. And for pre-K, it's just a screener. So the Brigance, I'll show you that page, but this is the DRDP, and your child will be screened according to their language and literacy development within this. And it's an online portfolio. So there's photographs and you get to see what it looks, you get to have, you get to actually see all of their mastery and their developmental progress on the DRDP in your parent portal. So this is DRDP. And then this here is the Brigance screener. So it's both, it's actually both, but again, the state of Missouri requires a kindergarten entry assessment, and it also requires that we give a reading test to all K through 6 students, and we customize a reading plan for them in order to make sure that they're developmentally ready at each stage. So that is something that you can count on from your kindergarten teacher. It's called a running record as well.
Okay, we have another question in the chat. A parent will have next year both a P3 and a kindergartner at Border Star. Do you know if Link lets out at the same time as Little Ocelots?
Yes, okay. They're there till 6, yes. So Link is 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Little Dragons is 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And Dr. Dennis supervises Little Dragons at Border Star as well. The sign up is already on our website. So please sign up soon. The spots fill up pretty quickly and they are right here at KCPS Early Learning. You can go here to pre-K before and after care, and you can sign up for before and after care for pre-K. It's different than Link, so you have to pay. It's a paid program, but there we go. So pre-K before and after care on KCPS Early Learning. And again, call 418-PRE-K and click Dr. Dennis if you have any questions. So this is where you can apply right here on the interest form. And then you can choose what pre-K your child attends. Okay. All right, great questions, everyone. Okay, any more questions?
Well, there don't seem to be any more questions. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully you got some information that was really helpful. Again, Ms. Went will send you an email with all of the links that we've provided thus far, as well as some additional information. Please visit our website for if you would like to get a copy of this presentation or access a copy of this presentation and rewatch